Secretary Pete Hegseth is playing some defense of his own following new accusations this afternoon that he shared sensitive military plans with family members.
As Fox's Rebecca Castor tells us, former staffers are also describing total chaos inside the Pentagon, but President Trump continues to back Hegseth.
From his nomination to leading the Pentagon, Pete Hegseth's time as defense secretary has been marked by controversy. He's been accused of sharing sensitive attack plans in group chats not once, but twice. And 3 of his top aides have been shown the door over reported leaks to the media.
Leaking is not okay in national security policy, and we will stand behind that every day of the week.
Hegseth is standing behind all of his decisions as secretary so far. But his former spokesperson, who left on his own accord, put it like this in a Politico op-ed. It's been a month of total chaos at the Pentagon. The dysfunction is now a major distraction for the president, who deserves better from his senior leadership. But Hegseth remains defiant.
I'm here to do one job for the president and the American people: secure the country. America first, peace through strength. I don't have time for leakers. I don't have time for the hoax press that peddles old stories from disgruntled employees.
And President Trump is standing by him, while his team denies reports that he's looking for a replacement.
Pete's doing a great job. Everybody's happy with him. We have the highest recruitment numbers I think we've had in 28 years.
No matter what the secretary says, his comments just don't pass the smell test.
Hegseth is facing an inspector general investigation over possible misuse of classified information. Democrats are calling on him to resign, and even some Republicans are starting to share concerns. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, for more perspective on all of these issues facing the White House right now, let's bring in politics professor Stephen Wolpert from St. Mary's College. Professor, thank you for the time here. Let's start with the issues at the Pentagon here. NPR is reporting that there is a search, in fact, already underway to try to find a replacement for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. We heard about the second signal chat leak that has been brought to light here, even though we are also hearing that the president continuing to show his support for Hegseth, at least publicly. How do you think the president is viewing the dysfunction that he's seeing at the Pentagon, and how might he address it?
Well, we know that Trump supports people until he doesn't, and then the next day you're gone. So the fact that he's expressing support doesn't confirm or reject the idea that Hegseth is in deep trouble. And so if we go by Trump world, things look great. But in the information world, we know that there's chaos going on amongst the leadership. There's questions, or always questions, about Hegseth's qualifications. He had no administrative experience, no leadership experience, no experience with defense policy before he took over. So it comes as no surprise that there would be a crisis of this sort coming in fairly short order.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of turmoil inside Hegseth's inner circle, according to the reporting here. We know about the advisors who were apparently escorted out of the Pentagon, fired last week, accused of leaking information. What is the effect, broadly speaking, the effect of that kind of infighting in the Pentagon in terms of morale among employees and even service members?
You have to remember that the Defense Department has 750,000 civilian employees. That's not much fewer than the population of San Francisco. So it's a huge organization. That's not even counting the military personnel. And the Pentagon itself, the building, I taught a course there once, it's like a self-contained city of its own. So you can't come in out of nowhere with no experience and expect to command the respect of the people who are career experts in the field. You have to show that you know how to hire qualified people. You have to show you know how to do strategic planning. You have to show you know how to run a meeting. Apparently his staff meetings are chaotic. And it's not, again, because he has so little experience in a complex organization, it's really asking a lot of him to come in from the outside, particularly with Trump doing things to disrupt the leadership, the Joint Chiefs and so forth. I think the whole relationship between the Pentagon and the military and this administration is not very good.
Yeah, certainly a strained relationship. We'll see what kind of action the president may take here. Let me shift to another issue facing the White House, and that is President Trump's ongoing trade war here and sort of the fallout from it. It's creating obviously a lot of uncertainty in the markets, concerns about an economic downturn. In a speech today, it was interesting. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that he expects what he called a de-escalation in the United States' tariff showdown with China in particular. What do you make of this? Is this an indication the Trump administration is maybe about to start sort of backing off and maybe is willing to negotiate with China to end the trade war?
Well, he's a transactional person, so he's looking for a deal on anything and everything. And so it's quite likely that he's going to want to try to work out something with all of these countries. His claims about how much money the tariffs are bringing in is wildly incorrect. And he thinks, I believe, this is my theory about what he's trying to do. He's trying to increase government revenues through the tariffs and cut domestic spending so that he can cut taxes, renew his tax cuts without having to raise the debt ceiling. So he's trying to balance several different balls here in the air at once. But the reality is that tariffs are not good for the economy. They're not good for the dollar. They're not good for stocks. They're not good for consumers. So what does that leave? Well, it leaves the possibility that he can work out some deal that benefits him.
All right. Finally, Professor, let me ask you here about what Secretary of State Marco Rubio outlined today, which is a new plan that really would reorganize the State Department in a significant way, cutting about 15% of the staff in this country and consolidating more than 100 bureaus worldwide. Now, Rubio says all of this is meant to increase efficiency, and he also described the State Department as what he describes as beholden to radical political ideology. What do you make of the motivating force behind these cuts, and how does this reorganization affect the work that's being done abroad in terms of diplomacy by the U.S.?
Well, the shadow of Elon Musk is heavy over this kind of move. Going back to the Defense Department just for a second, Musk wanted to cut 200,000 employees from the Defense Department. And this idea that simply by reducing the number of people you become more efficient has no real basis in reality, because it means that critical functions can't be performed. So again, what shrinking the government was something Trump promised to do. He wanted to drain the swamp. And what we're finding out is that when you do that, you wind up cutting things that actually matter in the world in terms of aid and diplomacy and help for people who need it and so forth. So you can be really efficient and just not get very much done. And that may be the direction we're heading.
All right. I appreciate your perspective. As always, great to have you on. Professor Stephen Wolpert, politics professor at St. Mary's College. Good to see you.